Okay, are we live? Are we live? Looks like we might be live. And we are live. Live streaming from Arlington, Vermont. This is Happy Valley Hobbies. I'm Mr. KD. KD. And these are hobbies that make me happy. And starting a little bit early today because, well, I can. But looks things are looking up. Today's a very nice day. I wound up buying a lot of shoes today. Bought some shoes for my car and for myself. So it's been a very expensive day, but it's been under 1,000. So that's one good thing. Right now, it's basically still working on the dioramas and all that. Right now, I'm done some things off screen and all that, but we will continue on. And since I started early, I'm assuming people have not gotten the notification yet and probably might be watching something else that hopefully ends at 2:30. But in that case, then I'll switch cameras and go to here. All right, now for here, sorry for the camera moving. It's not on the best stable platforms, but yeah, on this, you can see we're starting to add track on ties on both sides. Using this as a spacer. So a little extra spacer might wind up being permanent in one location. That might be a relatively boring setup today because, well, just added one of those things that put a tie on, space it correctly, and probably just as exciting as watching paint dry instead of paint getting glued to it. Now the bridge is not attached at this point yet. I'm going to have the bridge attached basically only on the rails. Going that direction. Directly, it'll make it easier to take the bridge off I think you're wrong on that point. It's one of those things that I am thinking of stepping my game up a little bit, but I'm sort of concentrate a little bit on doing recorded video. Maybe because, well, I'm getting something coming in for possible unboxing video. However, it's not what you want to call your normal model train unboxing. It's sort of a hobby I want to get into that has, let's say, model train adjacent. I know of a couple of people that do this as a hobby. In fact, I almost wound up buying what I'm unboxing from somebody, but the prices for shipping became so nuts it just made more practical sense to buy a new machine, get it at a lower price, or buy a more expensive machine at lower shipping costs. So I can get all the parts all the accessories I want instead of buying hoping to get the same accessories I want from a used machine. And the person that was selling the machine, they basically had a setup where side is not side went so much easier. So I don't know if because I'm on camera, it's just not going to plan as well. It's the space. Go back to oh, there. It's better space now. Basically, the spacing I sort of took basically off of commercial track. This piece of wood here actually was very close to it, so chopped off a bit. Still not going as planned. And sort of copying it here. Side. Another thing is that actually let's get the track on this down. Probably turn around, do the same on the other diagram. Putting track. trying to hide it. But let's try this again. Just do stick. There's something that's different that I'm not aware of on this side. This is completely possible. Thing is, Arlington is in the process of doing its annual fire community fire fair, if you want. Little rides and all that, kids, ice cream associated with that. All right, that's why it's not as well as the other side. This side is relatively flat. This side is not. So these are rocky. That's why it's not going as well as before. Sure, it's on that side. These things are set. So I'm probably using a piece of wood to space out pieces of wood. That gauge so wants to stick. One of the things that it all ties down. Glue dry, so probably by next week we'll take a sanding block and turn around and smooth out all the ties. Then turn around and lay the trap. Finally getting a better section here. But also got to realize that even you have a pretty much machine doing everything. it's done by hand, there's a good chance that it's not perfectly straight, or not perfect. We're watching a video with a track laying machine that was, I want to say, early 19th or something. And laying, they were laying track and all that. Whole train that it was all set up where it spit out the ties and put the rails on and everything. And they had a lot of guys on it, putting everything into position, and it's pretty, I want to say, not very precise on how they put things together. They were literally just, throwing the ties into the spot and going like, okay, it's close enough. Within, I think their tolerances was something like an inch or something. But yeah, I actually have my Sharper 3 set up to make more ties. And I'm assuming eagle-eyed people watching the model HO scale, however, might be thinking that the ties are a little bit long. Well, that's why they're a little bit long. It's that I'm in the process of doing broad gauge, 6-foot broad gauge. So that's why I didn't go with standard ties, because broad gauge, the ties are wider. So that's why I bought turnout ties, cutting them into lengths. I could do 3 at a time, but I've been finding out that chopping them 3 at a time is a little bit hard on the fingers. So I'm going 2 at a time. It's the normal tie width, well, commercial stuff that I base this off of. It's like 8 foot and I say 4 inches or something along those lines. These I got these measured out to a scale of 9.5 feet. Not sure if that's the correct size for 6-foot gauge. This is a diorama, so it's like slightly off, it's slightly off. See, there's pieces for other projects. Should basically a handful, make ties, and towards the end, sort of be a little more judicious on how many I make. Right now, it's basically just gravity. and just keep right on going. Now I still have for the trestle side, make that standard gauge or broad gauge, mainly because whereas this one, the bridge is up to NMRA standards, so it's actually wider than prototype would be because of thermostat, etc. So whereas the trestle, since there's no clearances, sort of worry about, except for where the barrel is. I think that's actual made to HO scale proper. So it's 4 foot 8.5 inches. Or trying to do 6 foot might not be possible. There's this bridge and the covered bridge can actually turn around and do that. Ooh, according to YouTube, there's 2 people watching. One person for a long time. I have I've come not to trust when it says how many people are watching. Because there's times that it's like, oh, there's only one watching, but yet there's people in the chat. So it's like, something's not right there somewhere. I have found that also not everyone, but in a small group, and there's just some people that don't chat, which is okay. Thank you for coming along and keep me honest and out of trouble. Unfortunately, the way YouTube is set up, I can't find out who you are until you actually post something. Again, said before, it's okay. For providing a very important service of being the audience. That's how I think I have been the longest time. But it's one of those things I don't really play a musical instrument, not really an actor and all that. But I do understand. It's sort of my sister's thing. She's a theater major, and I actually do understand the concept of performer needing an audience because then there's no reason. So my sister started her own YouTube channel for the pandemic. And pandemic started. She wound up getting a job, sort of like what I did with this this channel. Started the channel while unemployed, and all of a sudden employed, and it's like it's been a slight challenge to keep doing the live streams. My sister actually did she did recordings. But I do think I may need a newer computer, faster one. What I have been noticing on my computer is that, I mean, it's fast enough, but these live streams seem to causing it strain a little bit. And I think what has happened is that I mean, there's nothing wrong with the computer itself, but the thing is that happens is that updates and everything else happens on, and every time they add an update, it seems that no matter how fast you get a computer, they seem to turn around and keep on adding updates until it winds up bogging it down. You know, if I start doing this on the layout itself, definitely gonna see about investing in other fast track jig. This has to do with just the tiling. Is the turnouts turnout jigs, which I do have on number 4 of late straight track. It's specifically turnouts. It does look like my videos have been getting at least 20 views afterwards. So for people who are watching this on the rewind recording, thank you for watching. You know, you always talk about doing all the YouTube things, like subscribe and all. My assumption is that I'm not that popular. So for watching play, recording, probably already subscribed. So, which is right now up to 64 people. I think maybe changing to this current time slot is probably not the smartest idea. People are still at work, especially on the west coast of the United States. Oh, that looks like we're about halfway there. 29 minutes. Now, there's actually about maybe that much left in this bottle, so that's why I'm sort of having it side. I've noticed that a couple of times that it's obvious, but some of these are square instead of rectangular. So again, it's sort of like they make it like the YouTuber Tim they make it like that. It's like a lot of times that does things that there's a lot of graffiti, which it's one of those things that actually surprisingly knows how graffiti has gone over here. Sort of glad I do the Centennial. So modern day stuff, a lot more artistic. There's a lot of rail cars they got graffiti on them, which makes the cars unique. Doing a large portion of cars takes a while. Also doing this Centennial 1876. Trains are smaller, so it winds up being a little bit more prototypical that way. Oh, hello, Anthony. Well, I was actually slightly early today by a couple of minutes, but thank you for coming. Thank you for watching and for the encouragement. So I'm sort of planning next week on an unboxing next week. It's been a long drama of trying to get this particular package for the past month. When I first originally ordered it, my bank turned around and I guess I went over a spending limit. So they said, no, you can't do that. It's like, oh, I didn't know there was a limit. So now I know there's a limit. So I turned around, instead of buying all the things, I just bought the main portion of it. So it wouldn't go over the limit. And then the company I ordered from, their credit card processor that they're using, turned around and said, hey, I don't recognize this credit card. So they kicked it back. I had to go with a wire transfer. It's like, oh my. So finally got that straight, bought it. They sent it out with a carrier. And it's like, all right. Then when they first said that, oh, it's going to be here, sort of like going to be here at 3 o'clock. Which I'm thinking, oh, that's not going to work because I work it till 4:30. Then they turned around and said, oh no, it's going to be between 11 and 7:30. So I was like, perfect, great. Well, apparently kept on showing up 11 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, they sent a thing out saying that, hey, we tried to getting here. And there has to be a signature for it, which, the thing's pretty expensive. So it makes sense that a signature is needed. But the thing is that so I left a note on the thing there saying that, hey, I'll be back at X, I'll be back by 5. Well, they kept on trying to give it to me at around 11 o'clock. After the third time, they said, hey, this is our third time doing this. You have to be here. It's like, I can't. So they turned around, and after the third try, I lost. All of a sudden, I couldn't access the. That's another thing, is that when I tried to, they said, hey, if you want to change it, you have to sign up. So I tried signing up, but I couldn't link the tracking numbers to my new account, which was very annoying. And with the new account, I did not have access. For some reason, it gave me less information on where the package was than when I wasn't signed up for it. So, and during this entire time, I've been working with this one woman. Pretty much emails flying back and forth and all that, and so I've had no problems with the company. It's basically the companies that we're both dealing with that were having issues. Well, finally wound up returning to their location, and they finally gave. Initially, they did not give me the option to have the stuff sent to me to my workplace. So I work at a place, that makes mattresses, and I'm in the shipping and receiving department. So, it'd be very easy it's like, all right, well, and they allow stuff to be sent and all that. So it's one of those things that going like, all right, send it to my workplace. At first they said that was not allowed. That would make it so much easier. But apparently dealing with this other, dealing with customer service, they finally said, hey, can we send it to your workplace? I'm like, yes, that would be perfect. So I actually, after getting off of here, I had to check my email to see if it's been sent. Because once it's one of those things of realizing exactly once everything is all settled and all that, then I can wait for it to get it at work. Plan is to send it out today, so it'll have time to either get. Sounds like it's their cheapest route, which incidentally, it's for sometimes their cheapest actually is usually faster than their express. However, it's not guaranteed, whereas the other ones, which are more expensive, are guaranteed to be there in a certain amount of time. Whereas the basically ground is like, yeah, it'll get, when it gets there, it'll get there. But usually, sometimes it gets there a lot faster than the other services, but it's not guaranteed. So even though they've been consistently maybe here within a day, it's not necessarily guaranteed. Whereas the other ones, they're more expensive, but they're also guaranteed to be at the location at time guaranteed for. Of course, as I was telling my coworker about the whole drama and all that, I'm thinking, it's one of those things of, well, thank goodness that this is not a life and death situation. What times? But one thing I did before coming on today is that bought a lot of shoes today. One pair for the car, two pairs for me. My car for a while didn't realize that it had a stuck brake to it. One of the calipers were, I thought one caliper was sticking, but apparently both on each side was sticking. So got all new shoes for it, and now I have to sort of kind of relearn how to properly stop, because I didn't realize on how you turn around and coast, and it's like it would stop faster than normal. So now that it's not stopping, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I gotta actually use the brakes now instead of I'm sort of a featherfoot. But it's one of those things that I understood on the whole wanting to be signed and all that. I mean, it's basically something that's not cheap, and that's one thing I found out during a pandemic is that people turn around, they walk around neighborhoods and they look for packages. So they turn around and go, ooh, maybe we can sell this. I am fortunately living in a very small town where I want to say I know most of my neighbors, especially in the complex. There is one apartment I don't know them. I actually saw them for the first time today. Didn't really talk to them because they looked like they were on a mission. I was driving up, and it looked like they were on a mission to get in their car and go. So got to look at them, but not necessarily actually met them. I think it was basically a friendly wave. That was about it. But yeah, I think a lot of the companies that do deliveries and all that, they make the assumption that you're a business. It's like, even though it turns around and you put something that says residential and all that, for some reason they still think that you're business or someone who works during normal or is home at normal business hours. And that is not the case. But thankfully, if I do buy more stuff from this company, stuff I'm buying is going to be a whole lot cheaper than what I bought this time. So, should not throw any red flags on my bank. I might have to turn around and get a credit or use the credit card I actually have from a national bank that I use for emergencies and use that credit card. Probably just to say that, yes, I'm still alive. The card is still active. That's what I probably should have went. Might do that the next time. So I can turn around and go, hey, I just happened to realize that's what I should use the brakes on. Because it's not necessarily a emergency, but it could have been an emergency. It's probably a smart idea to make sure that the car works during an emergency than finding out that it doesn't work during an emergency. Let's see, 3. I can do 3, but here's about the limit capacity on this. Or 3 at a time, I should say. And today is a relatively boring live stream with laying down ties. One thing I am going to look out for is a smaller glue bottle for the. I might want to end up using this one. Something that's a little bit smaller. What I found out is buy the big ones might save money and all that. Then there's a good chance that by the time you're going through stuff and all that, whatever bottle you're making and all that, it's probably not the best by the time you're towards the bottom. But the smaller ones, they have a tendency to be fresher, but of course they're more expensive because you're buying more bottles. But if you turn around and buy a big bottle and then use the smaller bottle as, sort of the working bottle, and then using the other as a storage bottle, or one where you're not I don't want to say over. It's not. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that my technique is presentable. Now, I would have to say I would not know how this would be done with pre-rail, because the outside rails would be very obvious to do and all that, but do the inside rail, especially if you're doing with the posts. I don't know if this can be done in this particular way. The only thing I could think of is lay the 2 outside tracks down and then individually put drill in for the third rail in every single tie. Do it, then connect that connect all the studs and all that underneath. So I don't know how well that would come off. Sure, I'm not wandering off here. Should just mark exactly where the center line is. And, yeah. I would have to say probably the important thing that I have found is that things have to be flat as possible. I think that is the reason why this end seems these three went in so much easier than these. So I was able to do a single 3x5 card, whereas this one, see that I added a bunch of, so it's like things are not as should be. Start towards. And that's one of the things of building these dioramas. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would say with the third rail, it makes more sense to, especially with the posts on the inside, it makes more sense to turn around and buy prefab. An actual third rail like Lionel, it's like, okay, you're just adding another rail. You're not adding posts. And hello, Curly Express. Thank you for coming in. We'll start instead of putting down that this is a live stream, maybe put it as the Dodge pre-show. So everything I'm finding out that trying to keep this piece of wood they're using as a spacer clear of the yeah, the reason why I'm building these dioramas is that I don't really do much scenery. So it's basically practice on doing scenery stuff before I wind up putting it on putting it on the layout. Which the layout's not that large. I mean, it's only you can see the port of it right here and all that. It's about close to 120 of it, 20th of it. It's only 4 foot long, 15 inches wide. Probably should get the turn around and get the path, which currently is in the corner. Actually, run a train. Being basically 8 foot long, 18 inches wide. Practically, it's basically a switching layout for a single locomotive. I'd say that might be an interesting thing to do is, just do a foot or so section of hand laid Parkland track. It'd be an interesting episode to watch. My core assumption is that the center studs don't have to be accurate. I mean, they have to be within tolerance and stuff like that, but assume the tolerances would be much higher or lower than the tolerance of what the track is. That's my assumption. Because they don't have to be. I do not believe the studs have to be in gauge, but I do not know. It's basically what my assumptions are. But it's one of those things I would never use that particular process myself, but it would be interesting on seeing it. All right. Well, I believe the correct term is, I think, Auf Wiedersehen for goodbye in German. But thank you for coming in, Anthony, and may you have a non-dramatic. I don't want to say non-dramatic because we like drama, but I would have to say have drama that you're planning on. And see you around, Anthony. Thank you for coming. But I have to say, with Anthony wandering out, pretty much throws me the suggestion that I should start closing the stream down. Originally, my stream was from 3 to 4. That was before I found out that Anthony likes doing 3:30 to 4:30. So I guess it's time to switch it around. Hello, Kyle. And how are you today? But yeah, my new schedule right now is from 2:30 to 3:30. I found out that Anthony Dodds, the Model Train Outsider, is he winds up doing he starts his stream at 3:30. So I have decided to move up a half an hour, so from 2:30 to 3:30. So because I turn around and like watching Anthony Dodge live stream, so it's one of those things of might as well have it in sync where I close down mine and I see what he's up to. So that's what I'm doing now. Next week is going to be an interesting unboxing. Don't know if I'm going to do it live or recorded. I know one thing. It's been an interesting drama getting the package here. I ordered it over a month ago, and it's like it finally got here. It's not a problem with the company itself. It's the companies that deal with. First it was my bank, then it was their credit card company, and then it had to do with their delivery service. So, but as I said, it's a good thing it's not a life-threatening setup. So it gets here when it gets here. So in the meantime, thanks everyone for coming and also for watching. I've been getting about 20 people watching it on the I guess on the recording. They're not watching it live, so it looks like I'm getting more people watching the recording than the live. But that's okay. So if you've gotten this far and you're not subscribed yet, do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I think the world needs more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. And